My ex-girlfriend of 2 years got into a car accident. I was listed as her emergency contact, labeled as hubby. She had no major external injuries, but she lost her memory. Having no other choice, I brought her home and put her in the guest room. Who knew that night she'd actually ask hubby, "Aren't we sleeping together?" When I brought her home, she was just like a little child, full of curiosity yet utterly cautious. As soon as we stepped inside, I slipped into my slippers, seeing her standing uneasily at the door. I asked in confusion, "Why aren't you coming in?" She whispered, "There are no slippers for me." Looking at the empty entryway, I realized how careless I had been. This place was missing far more than just her slippers. No clothes, toothbrushes, towels, or cups. Nothing. A bachelor's pad is distinctly different from a home with a woman living in it. I grabbed a new pair of men's slippers from the shoe cabinet for her and led her inside. Sitting on the living room sofa, she naturally nestled into my arms and softly asked, "Hubby, are we fighting? Why aren't there any slippers for me?" Every muscle in my body tensed up. Clenching my jaw, I muttered, "We didn't fight, we." I could never resist her speaking in such a sweet, soft voice. Trying hard to compose myself, I explained, "This apartment is newly bought, so not everything is furnished yet. We'll go buy whatever you need tomorrow." She gave a soft murmur of agreement, then asked curiously, "But the doctor said being in familiar places would help me recover my memory. Why don't we go back to our old home?" "Why not go back?" "Because the moment you moved out, I sold that place." Of course, I couldn't tell her that right now. Weighing my words, I answered, "Well, because you chose this new home back then. It's the one you liked. It's more spacious than the old place, so you can do your rehab exercises at home." I wasn't lying about that. Suo Fai really did pick this apartment. A luxury flat downtown, close to my company. It was meant to be our marital home, but we broke up before we ever made it to the altar. She called out softly again, "Hubby." I patted her shoulder, my tone slightly rushed. "All right," I continued. "You just got discharged and need rest. It's late, go to sleep. We'll talk about everything tomorrow." I settled her into the guest room. Taking care of her lately had left me completely exhausted. We'd already been separated for 2 years. A clean, complete break. Her departure, back then, felt like a dagger plunged into my heart, twisted twice for good measure. Yet even the deepest wounds eventually heal. After 2 years, I had finally walked out of the shadow of her betrayal. That Monday morning, during our executive meeting, I received a call from an unknown number. Assuming it was a wrong number, I ignored it. Then, it rang a second time, and by the third call, I sensed something was wrong. An urgent voice came through the line. "Why did you take so long to answer? You're Zuo Fei's family, right? She's in the ER at Central Hospital. Get here immediately." My heart skipped a beat. I blew through 3 red lights rushing over. Suo Fei was being transferred from the ER to the neurosurgery ward. She was in a hospital gown, and the exposed skin on her body was covered in cuts, oozing with blood. I ran alongside the orderly pushing her gurney down the long corridor. My mind was in total turmoil. 2 years. I thought both love and resentment had faded away. Yet looking at her, a profound emptiness washed over me. I had to admit, someone you once deeply loved will always hold a different weight. I stared hungrily at her face, wanting to shake her awake and ask how she dared appear before me again. With her hurt this badly, where was that damn man of hers? Once I cooled down, I wondered if I should leave before she woke up. What was I to her now? Was I just asking to be humiliated, torn inside, hesitant, and terrified? I was driving myself crazy. Never did I expect that when she woke up, she'd gaze at me blankly and timidly ask, "Who are you?" Staring at her, in utter shock, I countered, "Zuo Fei, it's only been 2 years. Did you forget me that completely?" A nearby nurse chimed in, "He's your husband. Don't you recognize your own husband?" Both of us frowned and looked up at the same time. She asked in surprise, "Hubby, I am married." "Husband? When did I ever marry her?" While I was still bewildered, she gently gripped my hand, scrunched her face in pain, and said, "Hubby, my head hurts." Hearing her call me hubby made my chest tighten instantly. Every spiteful line I had prepared vanished. I hated how weak I was, yet I held her hand tightly, blamed on how hard I had fought to become her husband back then. 2 years later, The reflex remained. The doctor said she took a blow to the head and had amnesia, with no way to tell when it would clear up. It could be tomorrow, or it could take a very long time. She isn't fit to work right now. Take her home to rest. Having familiar faces around will help her recovery, but make sure not to agitate her. I searched through her entire phone and couldn't find a single trace of that other man. Did they break up? Seeing him end up dumped, just like me, felt satisfying. So, I took her home. It wasn't that I couldn't reach out to her friends or colleagues. I knew some of them, after all. But thinking it over, I couldn't feel safe leaving her with anyone else. Plus, I was her emergency contact. Saved under hubby. So the medical staff genuinely thought we were married. Not that I wanted to take advantage of the title, it was just that, in an emergency, as her spouse, I could sign off on her medical decisions. An ex-boyfriend meant nothing on paper. During her 2 weeks in the hospital, staying by her side every day, I had started slipping into the role. Now back home, I couldn't let myself indulge anymore. While my thoughts were running wild, the bedroom door pushed open softly. It was Zuo Fei, crouching beside my bed. I instinctively held my breath. She leaned in, placing a tender kiss on my lips, murmuring, "Hubby." I slapped the bedside lamp on and sat up. She flinched in surprise, staring at me blankly, and called softly, "Hubby." I turned my face away and said, "Don't call me hubby. You used to call me by my name." Her wide eyes looked at me in confusion. I reminded her, Siwan, Song, Shiwa. Since I knew it was all a lie, I had to pull myself out of the delusion. Looking at me with a hurt expression, she asked, "But my phone says you're my husband, aren't you?" She pulled her phone from her pajama pocket, opened the album and handed it over, pointing at the screen. "Look, it's full of photos of you." I had already checked that album. They really were all of me. Me in magazines. Me in media coverage. Even blurry paparazzi snapshots from gossip rags. She had saved every public photo of me from the last 2 years, along with dozens of our old pictures together. What was the point? I wanted so badly to demand what she meant by this. Back then, she was the one who coldly said she didn't love me. The one who claimed to have someone else. From furiously declaring, "You'll never find a man better than me," to begging her on my knees, "Babe, please, please, don't leave me," to screaming at the top of my lungs, "Walk out that door, and don't you ever come back." She still walked away without hesitation. During our final year together, my confidence was constantly crushed, my feelings trampled, and my devotion played with wit. So what was this performance now, pretending she still loved me? Did she take me for a fool? I stood up sharply to take her back to her room, but she wrapped her arms around my waist from behind, asking stubbornly, "Why can't we sleep together? Aren't we husband and wife?" Her questions made me furious. I wanted to bluntly tell her we broke up long ago, that I wasn't her husband, nor her boyfriend, and that I had no duty, obligation, or right to look after her. Her small hand rested against my chest, and her tender kisses fell upon my back. My heart melted instantly. The words died on my lips, and I swallowed them back down. Better keep quiet for now. The doctor said not to agitate her. I'd wait until she was a little better. I grabbed her roaming hand, turned around, and looked at her, trying to explain, "I might grind my teeth, or snore at night. It'll disturb your sleep." She threw her arms around me again, pleading urgently, "I don't care. I just want you by my side. I can't remember anything. My mind is completely blank, and I'm so scared." Taking advantage of her vulnerability felt wrong, yet she looked like she was about to cry, begging, "Hubby, please, I'm begging you, hubby." Fine, what else could I say? I tucked her into bed, pulled her into my arms, and soothed her gently. "Don't be afraid. I'm right here." She turned over in my embrace, hugging me face to face, and pleading, "Hubby, promise you won't leave me." I stayed silent. She urged anxiously, "Promise me, please." I couldn't make that promise, and even if I did, it would be hollow. All I could do was pat her back and murmur softly, "Stop overthinking. Go to sleep." She fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. While I lay awake the whole night, I hated how soft-hearted I was, hated my utter lack of resolve, and hated her for coming back to mess with my mind. Yet I couldn't bring myself to let her go. My heart felt like a tangled ball of yarn, completely knotted up. Something felt off. When I first met Zuo Fei, she hadn't even graduated from dance academy. She was innocent and stunningly beautiful. At our annual company gala, Pierre hired her troupe to perform. It was love at first sight for me. I got wasted with my buddies, bragging that I'd finally found true love. My friend warned me to stay sharp, saying it was probably just a transaction. Truth be told, I didn't care if it was. Being rich was just part of who I was. I saw nothing wrong with someone liking money. It's always the ones who claim not to care who end up falling the deepest. My only rule was that loving money couldn't exceed loving me. Yet she never asked me for a single thing. Countless times I tried using money to solve her problems. Funding her master's degree, landing her lead roles, or booking major performances for her. But she turned every offer down. She practiced relentlessly on her own, and earned a spot in a top-tier dance troupe for over a year. We spent every free moment wrapped up in each other. I had just taken over the company, under crushing pressure. But being with her made every worry vanish. Lost in our own little world. Our very first fight happened when she suddenly announced a 6-month US tour. No matter how hard I objected, she was determined to go. She said she had her own dreams, and refused to be my dependent. There was nothing wrong with that. Yet, as a proud man, not being relied on completely, left me feeling utterly defeated. Long distance was brutal. We were both swamped, and the time difference made warmth feel out of reach, while cold detachment easily crossed oceans. Yet distance couldn't conquer my longing. From Beijing to the US, a grueling 48-hour round trip. I made that exhausting flight every 2 weeks. By the time she returned, I had lost 8 pounds. When loving someone becomes that exhausting, it is destined to end in heartbreak. After tossing and turning all night, morning finally arrived. After breakfast, I took Zuo Fei shopping. I had to admit, her beauty could satisfy any man's deepest vanity. Even a dress cut like a burlap sack looked effortlessly graceful on her. I almost wanted to do what they do in dramas. Buy up every new arrival of the season for her. I just never expected such a coincidence at the mall. Zhao Minjin froze for a moment upon seeing me, then strolled over with his female companions. With a cold smirk he said, "What fine leisure, President Song." He brazenly sized Zuo Fei up from head to toe, pressing, "Aren't you going to introduce us?" I pulled Zuo Fei toward the exit, coldly brushing him off. "No need. We're leaving. Enjoy yourselves." Getting into a scene with Zhao Minjin here was obviously unwise. Zhao Minjin stepped in close, leaning toward my ear, and whispered, "President Song, play around with women on the side if you want, but don't jeopardize the bigger picture." Then he patted my shoulder, his tone laced with a warning. "Keep it quiet. Keeping a mistress on the side looks terrible. You might not care about your reputation, but my sister does." I shoved him away, and snapped coldly, "Mind your boundaries. Since when is my life your business?" Zhao Minjin wouldn't back down, sneering, "Oh please, I'm just standing up for my sister. Some prized bachelor. You're just another playboy messing with women." The good mood from our shopping trip vanished completely. On the ride back, Zuo Fei didn't say a word. That scene back there would make any woman misunderstand. Yet I wasn't going to explain myself. After all, our relationship wasn't official anyway. Who knew how long I'd play this fake husband? The moment she remembered everything, we'd part ways for good. Before I could even take off my shoes at the front door, Zuo Fei suddenly spun around and kissed me. It was frantic, clumsy, forceful, and desperate, using every shred of restraint. I held her arms to steady her, asking softly, "Do you want to talk?" Her eyes swirled with a tempest of emotions, brimming with tears. She asked back, "Talk about what? Will it be what I want to hear?" I gently stroked her cheek, probing softly, "Are you jealous? What do you want to hear?" She looked deeply into my eyes, as if searching for answers within them. After a quiet pause, she said nothing, simply burying herself in my chest and holding me tight, whispering, "Don't leave me." Ever since her amnesia, she said, "Don't leave me" every single day. Every time, it stirred a surge of bitter rage inside me, making me want to demand, "Don't leave you." When I said those exact words back then, how did you treat me? Feeling the damp warmth on my chest, I realized she was crying silently. The harsh words died, and I swallowed them back down. That night I cooked a bowl of tomato egg noodles for her. She ate happily. Neither of us was great at cooking. In the past, whenever we didn't order takeout, it was always either noodles or hot pot. Simple and quick. Later, I excused myself with work and told her to sleep first. I stalled until midnight, assuming she was already asleep, sparing me the torture of holding her without touching her. Yet, when I pushed the bedroom door open, her long hair was cascading down, looking breathtaking in the lace nightgown from today, waiting for me. A perk for the fake husband, after living like a monk for 2 years. Did she really have to torture me like this? She knelt on the bed, wrapping both arms around my neck. I pulled her hands away and ordered softly, "Be good and go to sleep." Her gaze was hazy and longing. As she whispered, "Don't you want me?" I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, managing to say, "No, your condition." She cut me off, urgently pleading, "I'm all better. I only lost my memory. My body is fine. We're husband and wife, aren't we?" Her eyes flicked downward, a spark of provocation in her voice, as she raised a brow. "Or are you just not up for it?" That infuriated me. No man could tolerate that kind of insult. Yet, reason told me to hold back. I couldn't take advantage of her vulnerability, but she had no intention of letting me go. She leaned in to kiss me. I dodged. She shifted to the other side and tried again. I barely managed to avoid her multiple advances. Gathering all her strength, she framed my face firmly in her hands, attempting to kiss me once more. Blood rushed straight through my veins. Gritting my teeth, I warned her, "I've given you 3 chances. If you keep seducing me, don't regret it." She tilted her face up and kissed me firmly. Her voice, crystal clear. "I never regret it." I threw all gentleness out the window, fueled by my lingering resentment, surrendering to a shameless, passionate frenzy all night. When we woke up, she pouted in my arms, grumbling with a hint of grievance. "I told you to be gentle, and you didn't listen at all." I hired a professional physical therapist to come home and assist Zuofai's rehab, while a housekeeper handled her daily meals. Meanwhile, I had to work non-stop to clear the massive backlog from the past 2 weeks. When I returned home that evening, a lavish spread was laid out on the dining table. One glance told me this wasn't the work of my regular housekeeper. Suo Fai excitedly told me I cooked all of dinner tonight by myself. I was stunned. She never used to know how to cook. I used to tease her, calling her a little glutton who could only eat. So amnesia didn't make her forget cooking. I asked instinctively, "When did you learn to cook?" Her eyes widened, and she asked in confusion, "I didn't know how before. When I checked my phone, I saw many saved recipes in an app. So, I just followed them. It went really smoothly, and I didn't even cut my fingers." I let out a cold scoff, thinking that other man certainly had a way with her, turning the pampered woman I never let lift a finger into a dutiful cook, slaving over meals. That thought killed my appetite completely. I loosened my tie and headed for the bedroom. Suo Fai followed inside, attentively helping me change into loungewear, chattering about everything she had done at home today. Then, she took my hand and asked with concern, "You don't seem very happy. Are you too tired from work? Eat first, and I'll give you a massage." Incredible. She even knew how to give massages now. She led me over to the dining table, and only then did I notice the table was filled with my favorite dishes. Hesitantly picking the cilantro garnish into my own bowl, I remarked casually, "With your amnesia, did you forget you don't eat cilantro?" Her eyes opened wide in surprise. "Really?" But my notes clearly said, "Must add cilantro." My chopsticks froze mid-air. I was the one who loved cilantro. What did this mean? During our 2 years apart, had she been repeatedly practicing the dishes I love? Resting her cheek in her hands, she looked at me lovingly. "Hubby, I think I must really love you." Her sudden confession struck a chord deep in my heart, warming my eyes with unshed tears. I had no idea how to reply. She looked at me with eager anticipation, whispering, "Do you love me?" looking at the hope in her eyes. I stayed silent, receiving no answer. She muttered to herself in disappointment, "It feels like you don't love me as much as I love you. How could more or less even be measured?" I didn't want to repeat the past and exhaust myself in love again, especially when our relationship was completely one-sided now. I looked at her and said in a calm tone, "Let's wait until your memory returns before we discuss these things, okay?" For the next period of time, we maintained this way of living together. The unease in my heart melted beneath the warmth of everyday life. During the day, I went to work, while she stayed at home doing her rehab exercises, occasionally cooking a warm dinner and waiting for me to come home. At night, I watched our old videos with her, browsed photos, and recounted the details of our past, watching our favorite movies together, in hopes of helping her regain her memory. Late at night, we couldn't resist fooling around in every corner of the apartment, completely lost in shameless passion. My buddy, Wei Haoran, who is also the vice president at my company, mocked me, saying, "Socrates once said, no man steps into the same river twice. Look at you. Are you really ready to get your heart broken by the same woman twice?" I snapped back, "Would it kill you to keep your mouth shut?" He shot back immediately, "It'd drive me insane." I replied coldly, "Then keep driving yourself crazy." Wei Haoran's tone grew serious, as he bombarded me with questions. "Stop kidding yourself. She's going to get her memory back sooner or later. Have you resolved the core issue between you two? Can you truly forgive her for falling for someone else back then? Does your mother even know she's back?" Every single question cut right to the bone. Indeed, nothing had been resolved. I was just deliberately avoiding thinking about it. The biggest problem between us originally was that she wouldn't give up dancing for me, while my family refused to accept a dancer as my wife. Later on, as our conflicts escalated, someone else took advantage of the crack between us. In truth, it wasn't that I couldn't defy my family to marry her. The real issue was that I didn't want her dancing either. When we had been together for over 3 years, she was only 23, the prime golden age for a dancer. As her performances increased, we spent less and less time together. Distance is to love what wind is to fire. It extinguishes the faint flames and fuels the fierce ones. During that period, I had an almost obsessive urge to tie her to my side. I still remember one time, when her troupe collaborated with the Brunei National Dance Troupe. I happened to be on a business trip in Singapore, so I changed my route to Brunei, just to see her. She performed a solo piece titled Spirit of the Peacock. Her dance was breathtakingly beautiful and fiercely passionate. Only later did I learn Brunei royalty was sitting in the audience, and a young wealthy aristocrat among them openly declared his intention to court her. I was furious. It wasn't her fault, of course. Yet I felt deeply threatened and irritated, turning petty and insecure. With more stage shows, her beauty was witnessed by countless men. Her pursuers came in endless waves, and I had to admit that some of them were even more accomplished than me. I had no idea how to hold on to her anymore. The tighter I tried to restrict her, the further away I pushed her. Meanwhile, my career was in a critical growth phase. The business realm was ruthless and deceitful, flooded with exhausting social obligations. I worked tirelessly day and night. In what little spare time I had, my girlfriend wasn't even by my side. Relying on superficial video calls and messages drove me completely crazy. Not only that, I lived on edge constantly, worrying other men would take what was mine, and worrying even more that she might be taken advantage of. Right around then, she got injured during rehearsal at the dance troupe. An investigation revealed it was likely deliberate sabotage. I panicked. A physical injury could heal, but what if something far worse happened next time? If the culprit was a nobody, I had the power to handle it completely. But some of her pursuers even had underworld ties. She was exposed in the light while they lurked in the dark. Impossible to guard against. I took that chance to tell her to stop dancing. I couldn't stand leaving her exposed to dangers beyond my control. If she loved dancing, I could open a dance academy for her, where she could teach children and do guest performances to realize her value, while still living her dance dream. Yet she turned me down flatly, leading to a massive fight. Because of that accident, she rested at home for nearly 3 months. Though I was still fuming, she always managed to disarm me effortlessly. For those 3 months, at least I could see her when I got home, which gave me peace of mind. I canceled as many social dinners as I could to stay with her. Even a leg in a cast didn't stop us from fooling around. That feeling of being wrapped in pure love felt like something I might never experience again. I was quietly planning to propose to her, never expecting that once her foot injury healed, even though she missed the lead role, she still wanted to make her comeback. To secure her place in the troupe, she took on a partner dance performance. When I went to the rehearsal room to see her, I was absolutely livid. That male dancer held her waist tightly, gripping her thigh during lift maneuvers. His other hand pressed against her chest. Forcing myself to hold back, I said to myself, this is her beloved career. This is her job. This is art. Don't be narrow-minded. And don't turn into a petty, jealous fool. But when she went to change, the male dancer walked over to provoke me. Winking with a smirk, he sneered, "Man, you're one lucky guy. Suo Fai's body is so soft, and she's so well endowed. Must be incredible in bed, huh?" I threw a punch and broke his nose right on the spot. I was taken away by the police. Naturally, this news alarmed Ms. Wu. My mother already disliked her before. In her view, how could a daughter-in-law of the Song family perform in public? For Suo Fai's sake, I had fought the fiercest battle against my entire family. They finally relented and agreed to marriage, on the condition that Suo Fai stopped dancing and stayed home as a traditional wife. That was their ultimate compromise. So, when the brawl happened, Miss Wu was entirely unfazed, stating as if she had predicted it all along. Now, you should see how incompatible the two of you are. Incompatible. Incompatible. Everyone kept telling me we weren't meant to be. But love is love. You don't love someone because you're compatible. You want to become compatible because you love them. Suo Fai lost the opportunity for the partner dance, and I missed the best moment to propose. Taking a hardline stance, I told her I could never tolerate her being intimate, embracing, and holding other men. She fired back that I didn't understand art, and was suffocating her freedom. Then came the Cold Wars and reconciliations. More Cold Wars over trivial matters, and more reconciliations in an endless cycle. That left us drained. I loved her so much that I couldn't bring myself to give up. She said she loved me too, but my love was suffocating her. The day she packed her bags and left, she told me coldly, "Song Shiwan, I don't love you anymore. I'm with someone else." A monstrous rage surged through me, making me want to tear her to pieces and scatter her ashes. Yet once reason returned, an all-consuming, inescapable longing flooded back. Countless times I reached for my phone wanting to call, demanding to know why. Why on earth, when I had treated her so well? Reason continually wrestled with emotion, through countless drunken late nights and lonely mornings waking up empty. It was pure willpower that carried me through. Forgetting her was impossible, but buried deep within my soul. As long as I didn't dig it up, it wouldn't hurt me. Over those 2 years, I occasionally saw her on TV. She was extraordinary. I even went to one of her live shows with a blind date, watching her perform on stage. Yet I left before the curtain call. I was terrified she'd spot me, hating how I still couldn't let her go. Until now, I truly didn't know if this was heaven's blessing or its punishment. Ever since her car accident, she had been completely dependent on me. More than once, I asked myself, do you still love her? There was no clear answer, yet she could still tug at my heartstrings at any moment. Should we get back together? Setting aside her amnesia, and whether she'd still want to once she remembered, asking myself honestly, I had no confidence we wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. So like an ostrich, I buried my head and waited for time to give me answers. Until photos of us blew up on the trending topics. The headline was sensational. Song Air secretly meets mystery beauty. Gao Song Alliance. Allegedly on the rocks. The photo was from our shopping trip the other day, showing her in a long dress leaning into my arms. Though it was blurry, anyone familiar with me could tell it was me. Her identity wasn't revealed. The person who took the photo probably didn't follow classical dance and didn't recognize her. This clearly wasn't the work of professional paparazzi. Why, Hauran rushed in with our PR manager, barging into my office like a whirlwind. Seeing my computer screen, he asked in surprise, "You already saw it?" I answered calmly, "Yeah, it's all over social media. Hard to miss." He pressed anxiously, "What on earth were you thinking? You knew we were at a critical point, yet you paraded around in public with a woman. Don't say I didn't warn you. You're in massive trouble." As Wei Haoran spoke, he even placed a bet with the PR manager. "I bet Ms. Wu calls within 30 minutes. The PR manager casually replied, "I bet 5 minutes." Right as the words left his mouth, my phone began to ring. Looking at the PR manager, I smirked. "Too bad you didn't name the stakes." Sure enough, it was a call from my mother, unleashing a furious tirade that I didn't even bother listening to. I held the phone 2 feet from my ear for about 10 minutes. Then I brought the phone back. In a heavy tone, I asked, "Are you done talking?" "My turn," I said, firmly. "Even without a marriage alliance, I'm confident I can secure the Nanshan project. So you don't need to be in such a hurry to sell out your son. Second, I don't like people meddling in my personal life. And that includes you. Lastly, do not try to manipulate me, or I'll make you pay the price." I hung up the phone. Grabbing my suit jacket off the back of the chair, I told them, "I'm leaving." "Why, Hauran?" shouted after me. "What about the trending search? Do we suppress it or not?" Without looking back, I replied, "Whatever." It went without saying that the person who secretly took the photos and bought the trending spot was Gao Minjin. The day I bumped into him, I knew this day would come. The rivalry between the Zhao family sisters was no secret in business circles. The Zhao family had thrived for 2 generations. But unfortunately, there were no sons in the 3rd generation. A daughter taking the helm wasn't out of the question. But she needed a solid backing. A marriage alliance was naturally the best move. To my privilege, both sisters had extended an olive branch to me. But what I wanted was Wanzhong Media in Zhao Mingqi's hands. So I chose to partner with her. Soon, rumors of our engagement spread across the business world. Of course, it wasn't real. Just a tactic to give shareholders confidence and smooth out business dealings. Over these past 2 years, I had immersed myself in the power struggles of high society, throwing myself completely into corporate schemes and calculations without a single moment of rest. Though it was tedious, staying busy kept me from yearning for Zuo Fei, from constantly dwelling on the agony of unrequited love and the sting of betrayal. Using work as medicine to heal my heartbreak, I built up my own empire and influence, no longer subject to anyone's control, including my mother. Flooring the gas pedal, all I wanted was to get home immediately. Zuo Fei checked her phone every day. I had no way of predicting how she would react if she saw the trending news. During the 30-minute drive, I took 2 phone calls. Gao Mingqi called to inform me that executives from both companies were very displeased with me. To minimize the fallout, she asked me to attend her family gathering, but I refused without hesitation. Playing along with her in the past was fine. A win-win. Why not? But now that Zuo Fei was back, I was no longer willing. Even though things between us were still undefined, I harbored hope and didn't want any unnecessary complications. Of course, I promised to compensate Zhao Mingqi and accelerate the partnership between our 2 companies. She was straightforward as well, only sounding slightly disappointed as she said, "I'm actually a little jealous of your girlfriend." There was nothing I could do. The heart is only the size of a fist. Once it's full, there's no room for anyone else. The other call caught me by surprise. It was Zuo Fei's best friend, and Lulu. Having had meals with her family and friends in the past, she had my private number. And Lulu asked anxiously, "Song Xiuan, is Zuo Fei living with you? Give me your address right now. I'm coming to get her." Frowning, I replied, "She has amnesia. She only recognizes me. Even if you come, she won't leave with you." And Lulu explained, "I know that. I've called her so many times. If she hadn't vanished into thin air, I would have gone to the police already." I said firmly, "As long as you know, I'm not sending her back, unless she fully recovers her memory and chooses to leave on her own." With an accusatory tone, and Lulu snapped, "Song Xiuan, after being entangled with her for so many years, hasn't what she's done for you been enough?" What had she done for me? The call left me feeling deeply unsettled. When I arrived home, Zuo Fei wasn't there. Since her accident, this had never happened before. She was always home waiting for me. Whenever I had business dinners, no matter how late I came back, she would stubbornly stay up waiting. I had told her many times to eat and sleep without waiting, but she always refused, insisting, "What's the point of being alone? I only feel at peace when you're back." Now, I was the one feeling uneasy. Looking at the empty apartment, my heart clenched tight. Did she see the trending news? Did she start doubting our relationship? And so she left. Doubt was only natural. The articles online were exhaustive, detailing not just high society alliance gossip, but also the backgrounds of Zhao Mingqi and me, our company's strategic plans, and stock market projections. Unless she hadn't seen it, she would at least question our marriage, wondering why the media claimed I was single and romantically linked with someone else. Or even worse, she had regained her memory and left without saying goodbye. That familiar sense of abandonment washed over me again. No matter what, I needed an answer this time. I dialed Wei Haoran as I walked, ordering him, help me find someone. Why Haoran? Asked in confusion, boss. Find who? Zuo Fai. She's gone. If she's missing, call the cops. What good is calling me? Cut the crap. Use every connection you have to find her. My mind raced through every possible scenario, quickly scanning my brain for places Zuo Fei might go. Shopping malls, cafes, parks, the dance troupe. My footsteps were frantic, my heart pounding violently, unable to wait for the elevator. I was about to sprint up the stairs 32 floors. Just then the elevator chimed with a ding. I turned around, and my eyes locked onto Zuo Fei stepping out of the elevator. My clenched heart instantly relaxed. Stepping forward immediately, I grabbed her wrist tightly and demanded, "Where did you go?" She parted her lips, hesitating to speak. Losing my patience, I snapped again, "Talk to me, where did you go?" Without waiting for an answer, I scooped her up in my arms and carried her inside. She let out a soft gasp of surprise, staring wide-eyed as I set her down onto the sofa. Only then did I notice something wrong with her eyes. She had been crying. Irritated, I yanked off my tie, trying my best to suppress my frustration, and asked in a low voice, "What did you go do?" Lowering her head, she whispered, I went shopping." Only then did I notice the small bag in her hand. The pattern showing through the bag was all too familiar. Durex. Clasping her hands awkwardly, she explained, "We ran out at home. It wasn't safe last night." Ha! Look at her taking initiative. In the past, I was always the one preparing these tools of the trade. If we ran out, our activities were forced to stop. Which man had trained her to go buy them on her own now? I pulled the bag over to check. She bought the right ones. Exactly my preferred size and style. Seeing her meek and obedient look, a sudden rush hit me. I almost wanted to carry her to the bedroom and ravish her right there. But sanity prevailed. I needed to clear up the situation first. Composing myself, I asked, "Did you look at your phone today? If you have questions, ask me directly." She remained silent for a long time, anxious from waiting. My voice turned harsher. "Speak." The shout made her shudder. She looked up and stared straight at me, her eye rims red. A tear slipped from the corner of her eye, which she quickly brushed away. I panicked slightly, my intimidating aura collapsing instantly. Softening my tone, I asked, "Why are you crying? Talk to me." Letting out a helpless sigh, I said gently, "When I came home and didn't see you, I was frantic. I apologize. But if you have any doubts about me, I want you to ask me openly, instead of bottling it up inside." Taking a deep breath, she looked up at me and asked, "I saw the trending news. I don't understand what it means. If you're my husband, why are you having a marriage alliance with someone else? An alliance means getting married, right?" I hadn't expected her to be so direct, and a sudden wave of irritation washed over me. But since things had come to this, I didn't want to keep lying to her. Slowly, I opened my mouth, my voice deep, "Because we aren't husband and wife. I'm not your husband." Looking at me in utter disbelief, she pressed, "Then why? Why are you my emergency contact?" I explained, "We used to be boyfriend and girlfriend. We loved each other. You probably set me as your emergency contact back then, and you just never updated it." Her eyes were dazed and lost. She asked again, "Used to? Then? What are we now?" Looking at her, my tone was complex. After breaking up, strangers may. But you came back. So what we are now is up to you. Zuo Fai gave me the cold shoulder after that. Overwhelmed, she told me she needed time to think things over. I left her in the master bedroom and moved into the guest room. Lying under the cold blanket that night, feeling the empty space beside me, my heart felt barren as well. The unopened box of Durex sat in the drawer, completely useless now. Ever since she came back, I held her every night until we were both thoroughly exhausted, after which I could sleep soundly until sunrise. Now the insomnia she had cured came back with a vengeance. Asking her to define our relationship was probably too much to ask of her. After all, she had amnesia. In her mind, the past had been wiped clean. But not for me. Her past words still echoed in my ears, etched into my memory. At the slightest sound, next door, my ears perked up immediately. After listening closely, silence returned. A wave of disappointment washed over me. It seemed she wouldn't be coming over tonight. I felt torn over whether I should take the initiative and go to her room. Thinking it over, I let it go. Sooner or later, we'd have to face this hurdle. In the morning, Zuo Fei sported dark circles that matched mine. She spoke up, "Let's talk." I was already dressed in my suit, checking my watch. There was no time. "I have a morning meeting." So I asked, "If you don't mind, come with me to the office." "Sit here," I explained. "It's a 30-minute drive. We can talk on the way." Zuo Fei hesitated, asking, "Is it appropriate for me to go? After all, you have a fiancé." At the red light, I turned to look at her and asked, "Since you saw the trending search, why didn't you just ask me from the start?" Taking a deep breath, she explained, "I thought about many possibilities. Maybe I thought we were married, but it wasn't convenient to make public, keeping a single persona for business. For business deals, or whatever. You know, that's how TV dramas always go. But I never expected reality to be even more dramatic than TV." She certainly knew how to rationalize things. I gave a light chuckle. "There's no fiancé. It's just rumors. Can't help it when I'm so popular. So too many women throw themselves at me. The overbearing CEO trope. Right. You know, that's how TV dramas always go." Twisting her hands, I could see she was hurting inside. She asked softly, "How long have we been separated?" "Over 2 years," I answered. She looked at me in shock, then asked blankly, "That long? Then why did we break up?" My heart clenched violently, gripping the steering wheel. My voice turned raspy. "Because you didn't want me anymore. You fell for another man." After settling Zuo Fei in my office, I spent a dizzying, exhausting morning in sales meetings. Coming back, I found Wei Haoran in my office, chatting with Zuo Fei. Passing by me on his way out, Wei Haoran winked at me, gloating, "Bro, honey." I couldn't hold it in any longer. Finally got it off my chest. Massaging my temples, I felt a headache coming on. Turning to Zuo Fei, I asked, "What did Haoran say to you? Do you remember him?" Zuo Fei shook her head blankly. "No, but he said we used to be quite close." I nodded and explained, "We used to hang out together all the time. He was a professional third wheel. Don't take what he said to heart. He just sees things from a different perspective." Zuo Fei whispered, "He scolded me. But I didn't get angry. Hearing about our past from someone else actually felt oddly comforting. He said you sacrificed so much for me, but I let you down. I never thought I could be so terrible." Lowering her head, she thought for a moment, then said firmly, "I'm sorry. Thank you for everything during this time. But you have no obligation to take care of me, so I think I should move out of your place." Clenching my fists, I glared at her, my voice trembling slightly. "Is that your answer? Moving out of my home?" And cutting all contact again. "Then what did you treat me as all this time?" Last night I repeatedly told myself that I had to be gentler. She lost her memory. Blaming and taking my anger out on her was unfair, but I just couldn't control myself. Hearing her say she wanted to leave hurt worse than a knife to my heart. Zuo Fei looked up, demanding, "But you never corrected me." Knowing I misunderstood. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Her accusation left me speechless. Indeed, when it came down to it, I was selfish. I had hidden motives. But I fired back. "Then why didn't you change your emergency contact? Why did you label me as hubby?" She shook her head in confusion. "I don't know. I don't remember." She bent forward, burying her face in her knees, crying in agony. "I can't remember. I don't remember anything." Seeing her like that broke my heart. Even though I knew it wasn't her fault, I couldn't help venting all my pent-up grievances on her. "Weren't you the one who provoked me first? Did you think I wanted to play this fake husband living on edge and agonizing every single day? Did you think that felt good? Heartless woman, now that you're done using me, you just want to walk away." Human nature is like that. Never having had it is one thing, but gaining and losing, regaining only to lose again, multiplies the pain exponentially. After that bitter exchange, Zuo Fei didn't leave, but sleeping in separate rooms took its toll. If it wasn't tossing and turning, it was restless, vivid dreams all night long. As for what I dreamed about, Let's just say keeping a man pent up disrupts social harmony. Suo Fai wasn't doing well either. Our dynamic was awkward and distant, unable to find a comfortable way to exist together. I began to regret it. If only we hadn't made the trending searches. Over time, maybe she would have grown unable to leave me. Fueled by resentment, I launched a series of retaliations against Zhao Minjian, the mastermind behind the trending leaks. I wanted him to learn the hard way what it costs to cross me. Business battles are like seesaws. When one side falters, the other reaps the profits. Thus, the partnership with Zhao Mingqi yielded tremendous returns, which was gratifying. Swirling her wineglass, Zhao Mingqi asked, "Why were you so determined to acquire Wanzhong Media?" I didn't bother answering. Zhao Mingqi pressed on, "Because of a woman." Zuo Fa. Frowning, I told her, "Don't misunderstand. I don't mean anything by it," she said. "It's just that I've seen her before." I explained, "She's a classical dancer, fairly well known. It's normal to have seen her." Zhao Mingqi shook her head. "No, I saw her at a hospital. You know, my father had cancer. When he was receiving treatment in the US, I saw her there. Since we're both Chinese, and she was so stunning, I took special note of her." The US? Cancer? My heart pounded wildly. I realized that regarding the 2 years Zuo Fei had been away, there was so much I didn't know. Before the mystery could unravel, an uninvited guest showed up at my office. He claimed at reception downstairs to be Zuo Fei's friend. Of course, I couldn't refuse to see him. A fairly young man, impeccably dressed, and handsome, carrying the cynical, roguish aura of a refined playboy. He sprawled across the sofa comfortably, making himself right at home. I raised a brow, staying silent, to see what game he was playing. When he introduced himself as Qi Shao, Zuo Fei's boyfriend, I narrowed my eyes. He demanded her from me right away. Glaring at him coldly, I asked, "Why should I hand her over to you?" Qi Shao raised a brow and retorted, "Because I have more right to care for her than you. You're a man with a fiancé. You aren't trying to make Zuo Fei your mistress, are you? You said it yourself, a fiancé. Just an empty title, right? And just a rumor at that." He frowned at me, his tone laced with distaste. "Is Mr. Song always this careless? Keeping an ex you broke up with over 2 years ago, tied to your side? Are you reliving old dreams or looking for revenge?" Not bothering to waste another word, I pressed the intercom to have security escort him out. My chest tightened with rage, while he remained entirely poised. Standing up and smoothing his suit, he said, "No need for all that trouble. Suo Fei will leave with me. Just wait and see." With that, he walked out, leaving me so restless, I couldn't stay a second longer. All I wanted was to rush home. A deep apprehension gripped my chest. Amnesia is like a ticking time bomb. The moment she remembered, everything could reset to where it was. What would Zuo Fei do? Walk away without a trace? Leave without saying goodbye? Or run back into that man's arms, telling me she loved someone else? And this whole time was just a mistake. I couldn't help cursing under my breath. Damn it! Only a few steps out, my mother blocked the doorway. When bad luck strikes, everyone shows up to make life miserable. Miss Wu demanded in a hostile tone, "You don't answer my calls. Who do you think you're throwing a tantrum at? The woman in the photos is Zuo Fei, isn't she? You're entangled with her again. I told you, I don't like you interfering in my private life." If you weren't my son, do you think I'd care? After all these years, you haven't grown up at all. The moment you see that woman, you lose your mind. Showing no sign of backing down, our relationship already strained over the years. I said, "Only because you're my mother, shut up right now. And preserve some dignity. You're living with her? Fine, and I want to see what she's really after." She spun around, making a move to leave. I grabbed her arm instantly, glaring at her, with a fierce warning in my eyes. I knew elite family tactics all too well, ruthless and hard to guard against. I had to crush any ill intentions she had. "Don't overstep your boundaries. If you dare touch her, don't blame me for casting aside our family bond." Ms. Wu gave a scornful laugh. Her eyes filled with disdain. Protecting her no matter what. Truly a devoted lover. Too bad you're blind and gave it to the wrong woman. Do you know? Back then, it only took 2 million yuan to make her leave you. Son, your feelings are only worth 2 million. Are you still going to be this obsessed? You're hopelessly lovesick. I should have realized it earlier. Back then, the promise that if Zuo Fei gave up dancing, the family would accept her was merely an expedient tactic to avoid a direct fallout with me. While I blamed Zuo Fei for not considering my feelings, Miss Wu had her own ruthless methods, paying her off to leave me, or threatening her career and safety. In elite families, this was all too common. Despicable as it was remarkably effective. But Zuo Fei leaving me for a mere 2 million, I would never believe it. Just like someone who owns an entire ocean, who would walk away for a single glass of water. If she wanted money, I could have given her far more than 2 million. There had to be another reason. America, cancer, 2 million. On the drive home, I call a friend at an investigation firm. I had to know the underlying truth behind all of this. When I got home, Zuo Fei was on the phone. Her phone had been ringing non-stop. When in a good mood, she would answer, usually explaining, "I'm sorry. I lost my memory and don't know who you are. Thank you for your concern. I'm doing well now." Repeating the same words to everyone grew tiring. So most of the time she just hung up directly. But today's call was clearly not from an ordinary friend. It'd be such a waste to give up. It doesn't matter if you can't remember, your foundation is still there. There's still time to practice. It's very important. You always said this was your lifelong goal. I'll send the video over. Watch it and practice first. I'll go confront Song Siwan. What is he trying to pull? What does this have to do with him? He has no right to interfere with you. Her voice was so loud I could hear it from the entryway. Who else could it be but Lulu? I quietly watched Zuo Fei. She hung up the call, and music began playing from her phone. After watching intently for a moment, she stood up, rose onto her tiptoes, and stretched out her arms. Then, kicked up one leg into a graceful pirouette. Her body was light and supple. Even in simple loungewear, she danced exquisitely. A confident smile graced her face, reminding me of the woman who captivated everyone on stage. Radiant and dazzling, she had worked so hard for her dancing. Yet I self-righteously demanded that she quit, feeling utterly aggrieved myself, demanding to know if dancing was more important than me, even forcing her to choose between dancing and our relationship. I suddenly realized how ridiculous it all was. If it were me, and someone caged me in with their love, under the guise of love and protection, I would feel suffocated too. As she spun, her eyes swept past and caught me standing in the entryway. She looked so happy, like a nimble little swallow. She came bounding over, just 2 steps away from me. She stopped awkwardly, the smile fading from her face in an instant. She probably remembered that in our undefined, awkward dynamic, we weren't supposed to be holding each other. Yet at this moment, all I wanted was to hold her tight. I stepped forward and pulled her into my arms, burying my face in her hair, just wanting to hold her in silence. She hesitated with a slight stubbornness. Then her small hands gently stroked my back, asking softly, "What's wrong?" I suddenly feel like a real jerk, a bit at a loss. She gently shifted, trying to look up, but I pulled her closer. "Don't move. Just let me hold you for a while. I just want to hold you like this." Neither of us moved. If my rumbling stomach hadn't broken the tender mood, I wouldn't have known how long I could keep holding her. Zuo Fei let out a soft laugh in my arms. "Let's eat something before hugging again." I sighed. "Don't. I want to hold you forever." "Well, people have to eat and use the bathroom. I want to hold you legitimately, reasonably, and legally." I loosened my grip. She tilted her face up from my chest, her eyes filled with confusion. "What do you mean?" I looked deeply into her eyes, my heart completely resolved, my tone firm. "I want to put a stamp on you, to tell everyone you're mine." Her eyes went wide, full of shock. "Just like this." I leaned down and left a hickey on her neck. She looked flustered, her voice trembling. We're not husband and wife anymore. We can become husband and wife. Let's get married, okay?" Shock washed over her face, her voice pitching up. "Get married." But I scooped her up, sat her on the entryway console, and braced my arms on either side, caging her in. So, she had to look right at me, with nowhere to hide. "For over a month, we've been together every day. I'm your emergency contact. You cook specifically for me. Your phone album is full of me, and you've seduced me into bed so many times. So, looking at her earnestly, I asked softly, "Do you still love me?" Her face flushed deep crimson with embarrassment, her eyes darting away, not daring to meet my gaze. "But you said back then, I looked steadily at her, my voice unwavering. "I will get to the bottom of what happened back then. Even if I can't, it doesn't matter. What I care about is now and the future." This was what I came to understand on my drive home. Today, it was Chi Shao. Tomorrow, other suitors might come knocking at the door. Instead of waiting to compete with other men, taking the offensive was better. Overthinking and agonizing over past rights and wrongs. What was the point? Even if you found out a fly landed on a dumpling you ate 2 years ago, are you going to throw up today's meal? So what if she lost her memory? Isn't she right here in my arms? Then, we'd create new memories together. As for the impending truth, everything would come to light, sooner or later. In the end, after circling around for 2 years, and seeing countless women, the only one who could stir my heart had always been her. So, I had to have her. I wanted to be her legitimate husband. People are like that. Take a step back, and everything clears up. The heavy fog, crowding my heart, dispersed instantly. She was still hesitant, her voice full of uncertainty. "Can you wait until my memory comes back? What if it never comes back your whole life? Are we supposed to sleep in separate rooms forever? I can't stand that. But, I don't even know where my household register is." "Not a problem. Leave it to me." As she hesitated, I reached out a finger, and gently tapped over her heart, my eyes earnest. "Ask your heart, do you want to be with me for a lifetime?" That evening, curled on the couch, we talked about so much. I told her about my work, my circle of friends, and my hobbies. She showed me the video and Lulu sent. It was her dancing, a solo routine. She had prepared for a long time to enter a competition. "Is it beautiful? This dance feels completely different from what you showed me before. I really like it." "Yes, it's gorgeous. If you like it, practice it. You can do whatever you want." "Really? Didn't you say?" "We used to fight all the time over my dancing. Because I was narrow-minded. Because you were too beautiful when you danced. And I felt insecure." Yes, at the end of the day, it was about security. I didn't understand it back then. But now, I knew. Loving someone shouldn't mean binding them, or pleading with them, but supporting their dreams, appreciating their achievements, and understanding their choices. Only then could a relationship be healthy and long-lasting. That night, I happily moved back into the master bedroom, and our stash of supplies finally found their purpose. My heart felt more at peace than ever. Yet, I never anticipated Chi Shao showing up at our door so soon. Suo Fei opened the door, asking blankly, "Who are you?" Chi Shao furrowed his brows, his tone filled with doubt. "Suo Fei, what happened to you?" I strode over quickly, shielding Suo Fei behind me, my eyes wary. "She has amnesia." "Don't agitate her." "Amnesia? I see. So knowing she has amnesia, you deliberately kept her by your side. How utterly despicable." I blocked his reaching hand, doing my best to maintain composure and calm. Suo Fei accepted my proposal. "We are officially together." He pointed right at my nose, snapping word for word. "You're taking advantage of someone in danger, exploiting her vulnerability, you coward." I picked up the phone to call building security downstairs, fury flaring inside me. Letting just anyone inside, do they not want their jobs anymore? He completely ignored me, shoving me hard, stepping past, and grabbing Suo Fei by the wrist. "Come with me," right at my doorway, trying to steal my woman right before my eyes. I'd hated the sight of him from the start. Stepping forward, I threw a merciless punch straight at him. He stumbled back 2 paces from the blow, shock written all over his face. Just as I moved to pull Suo Fei back and slam the front door shut, he blocked it with his long leg, shoved the door wide open and lunged at me. At that moment, 2 grown men over 6 feet tall were brawling on the floor. Having been a gentleman for so long, I normally disdained violence. But now all I wanted was to beat him to a bloody pulp. He seemed to despise me just as much, yielding nothing. With punches landing on faces and bodies, we felt no pain at all. Only skyrocketing adrenaline pushed us forward, fighting ruthlessly in a primal clash of alpha males. "To claim victory," he roared. "What damn right do you have to cling to her?" I snapped back, She came to me first. Livid, he yelled. Bullshit. You broke up long ago. I gritted my teeth. We got back together. We're both men. Don't think I can't see your dirty motives. You think she'd ever love you. Keep dreaming. He sneered coldly. Then ask her who stayed by her side for the past 2 years. We traded blows while hurling verbal jabs at each other. Yet, mentioning those 2 years made the rage in my chest peak instantly. Twisting sideways, I pinned him down hard, snarling viciously word for word. Then do you know whose bed she's been sleeping in all this time? Qi Xiao's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. Stunned and glaring with rage, I pushed him further. What? Can't understand plain words. Your precious sweetheart. Do you want me to tell you the intimate details? Qi Xiao roared. Song Si-Yuan, you bastard! I fired back. You're the one who deserves to die. A tortured cry rang out beside us. Enough. Qi Xiao and I froze at the exact same time. During our intense brawl, I had caught glimpses of Zuo Fei frantically trying to pull us apart, completely unable to step in. Now, she was crouching on the floor, clutching her head in agony. While I was still stunned, Qi Xiao shoved me aside and rushed over to her, calling out frantically, Zuo Fei. Her face was drenched in tears as she gasped desperately for air. Qi Xiao anxiously stroked her back, soothing her gently. Don't cry. Don't hyperventilate. Control your breathing pace. Zuo Fei, focus on your breathing. With that, he scooped Zuo Fei up into his arms. I stepped forward to pull her back, but he roared at me, you idiot. Go get the car! Together, we rushed Zuo Fei to the nearest hospital. She kept clutching her chest, gasping for breath, looking in severe distress. Qi Xiao gave detailed instructions to the ER doctors with practiced ease. My entire focus was on Zuo Fei, unable to register anything else. I held Zuo Fei's hand tight, my own hands and feet frozen with panic, yet completely unable to help. That feeling of total helplessness was agonizing. After a flurry of chaos, Zuo Fei fell asleep after receiving an injection. Qi Xiao looked at me with a sneer. Aren't you leaving yet? You might end up trending again. Not backing down, I shot back. Don't concern yourself. You're the one who should get lost. Taking care of my fiancé is completely natural. Qi Xiao scoffed. Fiancé? Would your family ever allow it? How much do you even know about Zuo Fei? Her reliance on you right now is just the suspension bridge effect. Must you deceive yourself, having him strike such a sore spot? I grew frustrated and flustered, glaring sharply at him, itching to hit him again. Qi Xiao warned, I advise you to stay calm. This is a hospital. I couldn't care less. But if you make the tabloids, it'll affect Song Group's stock price. Truly infuriated. My teeth ground with rage. Yet, seeing the bruises on his face, 2 buttons popped off his shirt, looking thoroughly disheveled, and knowing I had overpowered him earlier, some of my anger subsided. Though I wasn't looking much better myself, the ER was packed, and we had caused quite a scene. People were sneaking glances at us, some even discreetly filming videos, probably imagining a grand drama of alpha rivalry. Rationally, I should have stepped away to avoid attention. But if he expected me to leave and make room for him, no way. I shoved Qi Xiao aside, pulled out Zuo Fei's phone, and showed him her emergency contact. Sure enough, when he saw the word hubby, his pupils contracted, his jaw clenching tight. Triumphantly, I declared, so when she was in the accident, the hospital contacted me, and I'm about to make our status official. The unloved one is the real third wheel. Now, get lost. He shook his head with an inscrutable look. You're still as conceited as ever. I snapped. You think you know me? You don't know shit. He replied coldly. I have no interest in knowing. If it weren't for Zuo Fei, I'd wish to never lay eyes on you again. I couldn't be bothered with him. Immediately making a call to transfer Zuo Fei to an upscale private hospital owned by Song Group. Unexpectedly, Qi Xiao spoke up. Transferring is fine, but I must come along. I frowned. Are you kidding me? Was I going to let him exploit an opening? Qi Xiao insisted. I have to go. I am her attending physician, and I understand her entire medical history. I demanded, Doctor, what kind of illness does she have that requires your treatment? He sneered, the all-powerful President Song. If you want to know, Why don't you investigate it yourself? Or have you never had a shred of patience for Zuo Fei, only knowing how to cage her freedom, strangle her talent, make her suffer in the name of love, force her to sacrifice, oh, and indulge in your pathetic jealousy? He knew everything about Zuo Fei's in my past. I realized the bond between Qi Xiao and Zuo Fei was complex. Yet my gut told me they weren't lovers. Qi Xiao undeniably had feelings for Zuo Fei, but in her photo album, there wasn't a single photo of him. They definitely weren't a couple. Then what illness did Zuo Fei have? When I was with Zuo Fei back then, she was perfectly healthy. Her full-body checkup after the car accident showed no underlying conditions aside from external injuries. Settling Zuo Fei into our private hospital brought me much more peace of mind. Over an hour later, she woke up, right while I was on the phone with a friend. A voice came through the line, "President Song, the investigation you requested has yielded results. Qi Xiao is a gastrointestinal medical oncologist, practicing at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and he returned to the country 5 days ago." Zuo Fei had regained her memory. When I hung up and walked into the room, Qi Xiao was holding Zuo Fei's hand, and the look in her eyes was urgent and trusting. Her voice was slightly raspy, yet deeply anxious. "You didn't tell him, did you?" Qi Xiao let out a deep sigh. "Of course not. That's your personal privacy." Zuo Fei breathed a sigh of relief. "That's good." Qi Xiao asked again. "Are you planning on hiding it from him forever? Lately the two of you seem to be getting along quite well." Zuo Fei drew her knees up, lowering her head, her voice filled with self-blame. "It's all my fault. Why did I lose my memory? It's all my fault." Unable to listen any longer, I pushed the door open forcefully and demanded sharply, "What on earth are you hiding from me? What the hell are you keeping from me?" I never thought the day would come when I could speak calmly with Qi Xiao. I was burning with anxiety, while he maintained an irritating elegance, sipping his coffee at a leisurely pace. I urged him, "Hurry up. What exactly is Zuo Fei's condition right now?" Rolling his eyes, he replied, "Nothing serious." "She's very healthy," I pressed. "Then why would she be involved with an oncologist like you?" He answered calmly, "Because she has up to an 80% chance of developing cancer." As the words left his mouth, the hospital room fell into absolute silence. Before our conversation, I had firmly told Zuo Fei that no matter what happened, I would never let her go, and that as her fiancé, I had the right to know my fiancé's fate. Zuo Fei had nodded to Qi Xiao, which was why Qi Xiao and I were talking now. I had thought I'd be terrified, yet I was surprisingly calm, as if completely certain that no matter what it was, nothing could tear us apart. My heart actually settled. Qi Xiao began explaining, "Have you ever heard of Lynch syndrome? It's a familial, hereditary genetic disorder. Female carriers have up to an 80% lifetime risk of colorectal cancer and a 60% risk of endometrial cancer. Most terrifying of all, this mutation-driven condition follows an autosomal dominant inheritance pattern. Even if the spouse is entirely healthy, their children still carry a 50% chance of inheritance." He continued, "Furthermore, patients with Lynch syndrome develop cancer at a much younger age than the general public. Before precise genetic testing existed, the diagnosis relied on the Amsterdam criteria, one of which was an onset age under 40. My brows knitted tightly. I had never known such a cruel condition existed, like a ticking time bomb, where an apparently healthy person could be diagnosed with cancer at any moment. Zuo Fei's mother had passed away from colorectal cancer. After her mother's death, her father remarried, and Zuo Fei grew up under her aunt's care. Her aunt was an elegant, graceful woman who remained unmarried her whole life. She used to be very fond of me, and our relationship had her blessing. During the 6 months we were constantly fighting, Zuo Fei had told me her aunt was illegal, and what did I do? Oh, I merely gave her a bank card and told her to spend whatever she needed. Back then, corporate factional wars left me utterly overwhelmed, and Zuo Fei's refusal to compromise exhausted me. So, when her aunt was critically ill, when she was at her most vulnerable and needed me most, I, her boyfriend, was completely absent. Qi Xiao's voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Zuo Fei's aunt suffered from colorectal and endometrial cancer. When Zuo Fei brought her to MD Anderson, I was the one who admitted her gastrointestinal case. Back then, they had already done genetic testing back in China. Even in America, even at the best cancer center in the world, there's no cure for Lynch syndrome. All we can do is regular surveillance, operating immediately once malignancy appears. My heart thudded violently. The truth connected into a clear line. So, during the time Zuo Fei and I fought, constantly, because of her aunt's illness, Zuo Fei discovered that she also carried Lynch syndrome. That was why she wanted to leave me. She took Ms. Wu's $2 million to break up with me, took her aunt to America for treatment, and met Qi Xiao there. There was never any other man. I had only lost to myself. I didn't even know how I walked back to the room. Zuo Fei must have cried endlessly. Her pillow was soaked through, and her eyelids were swollen. I gently touched her face. Like a startled fawn, she opened her eyes abruptly. Ignoring her protests, I squeezed onto the hospital bed. The bed was too narrow. I had to hold her tight so we wouldn't fall off. In a hoarse voice, I told her, I know everything now, but I'm not ready to forgive you. Feeling her body instantly tense up in my arms, I continued, unless you make it up to me, spend the rest of your life making it up to me. Don't forgive me either. Just give me the chance to make it up to you, okay? She nodded against my chest. I asked softly, if not for the accident and amnesia, were you really planning never to see me again? Without waiting for her answer, I carried on, you silly girl. You underestimated me. Just wait and see how I punish you. Wanting to marry Zuo Fei naturally faced immense pushback. First and foremost was Miss Wu Ao. Yet no matter how furious she became, I remained as composed and unshakable as a meditating monk. I am notifying you, not asking for your permission. Use whatever tricks you want, but I will pay them back double. As for objections from the family or other board members, I cared even less. Businessmen care only about profit. Leaking just a tiny fraction of profits from my fingers had them scrambling over scraps, leaving them no time to meddle in my affairs. Gao Mingxi, on the other hand, was somewhat wistful. It wasn't that I didn't know her feelings toward me, but all I could offer in return was the smooth execution of our corporate partnership and soaring stock charts. She was graceful about it, and I successfully acquired Wanzhong Media. This was my gift to Zuo Fei. The most annoying person remained Qi Xiao. I object. Putting down his cutlery, he wore that same irritatingly smug, calm expression. Just seeing him made my blood boil. Zuo Fei gripped my hand tightly, terrified I might flip the table in anger. What standing do you have to object? We are merely informing you, so you don't become a third wheel intruding on someone else's relationship. That's not for you to decide. Dabbing his mouth with a napkin, he looked at Zuo Fei. Are you really planning to marry this childish brat? You're the childish one. Qi Xiao quickly steadied his wine glass. See? Does this look like a mature man to you? If you ask me, you should just return to the US with me. Just as I was about to snap, Zuo Fei cut in softly. Honey, my temper died down in a split second. Zuo Fei raised her glass and said, gently, thank you, Qi Xiao. In my heart, you are a very, very important friend. I will never forget how much you supported me when I was at my most helpless. I truly wish you happiness. Please visit home often. Ha! A full 24-gun celebratory salute went off in my chest. Qi Xiao curled his lip. I really didn't want the friend card. On our drive home, I was practically glowing. I've hated that guy for so long. The first time we met, he even bragged he was your boyfriend. What a liar. He actually was my boyfriend. A sharp screech echoed as I hit the brakes. I stared at Zuo Fei in utter disbelief. I thought she'd playfully wink and say, gotcha. But her expression was laced with sorrow. When my aunt was critically ill, she kept asking if you and I had fought. I didn't want her to worry. So I asked Qi Xiao for a favor and told her he was my new boyfriend. That's why I said Qi Xiao helped me so much. Not only did he do his utmost as a physician, but as a friend, he helped me see my aunt through her final moments. The fireworks in my heart extinguished into ash, leaving only total silence and profound remorse. I thought I had cleared away every obstacle, yet I could never undo the 2 years we had lost. Thank heaven, we still had the future ahead. Qi Shao. From now on, I won't give you a single opportunity. After acquiring Wanzhong Media, the very first thing I did was sponsor a competitive dance reality show, inviting artists with dance backgrounds and students from professional academies to participate, building a premier platform for aspiring dancers. Suo Fai was naturally selected as a judge. I dismissed her protests. How could you not be qualified? You're a Lotus Award winner, with extensive stage experience and over 1,000 tour performances. Nobody fits this judging seat better than you. You're using corporate power for personal gain. So what if I am I want to see you shine with all your radiance. Weren't you supposed to be jealous and petty? Embracing her from behind, I gently swayed with her. That's why I became your boss. To keep you right under my watch and claim you publicly. So nobody else dares set their eyes on you. Huh, look at how scheming you are. In truth, this was my exact plan 2 years ago. Sadly, we broke up before I could make it happen. I never truly wanted you to quit dancing. I wanted to wait until the acquisition went through, to pave a safe, protected career path for you. That would put my heart at ease. And as for the competition Lulu mentioned, as long as it doesn't conflict with our wedding, I fully support you. Suo Fai was deeply touched. She turned around to hug me, whispering gently into my ear, "Hubby, thank you." Competition in classical dance circles had always been fierce. The show Wanzhong launched created a huge stir across the industry, with the production team inviting several top dance-trained idols. The viewership was unprecedented, even for those unfamiliar with the art. Who wouldn't love watching gorgeous, talented dancers? As a judge, Suo Fai's resume displayed on screen was dazzling. Her feedback was sharp and professional, and she occasionally stepped onto the stage to demonstrate. Live comments immediately flooded the screen. She looks just like a fairy. The judge totally outshines all the contestants. Confirmed beyond doubt. Suo Fai is ridiculously stunning. Please debut. I want to see you every day. If she were my wife, I'd gladly die right on the spot. Can someone dig up whether she's married or not? Netizens truly possessed all-seeing power. Someone actually uncovered that trending topic from months ago. No way. Isn't that Wanzhong's new CEO? Damn. We have no shot. Truly a match made in heaven. Sister has great taste. Song Seoan is totally my type. Why Haoran clicked his tongue with a smirk, without even debuting, joining dating shows, or doing parenting reality shows. Your public persona has shifted from domineering CEO to the man behind the goddess. Isn't that great? Only now did I realize how deep my own vanity ran. In the past, I despised others gazing at Suo Fai. Even a few lingering glances made me furious. Not anymore. Now I wanted the entire world to witness her elegance. Knowing this matchless beauty was mine. With the show blowing up, the production team asked if we should capitalize on the hype and arrange more television appearances for her. But Suo Fai declined. She said helping so many aspiring dancers fulfill their dreams was already rewarding enough. Becoming a celebrity was never her goal. She only loved dance. And next, she needed to concentrate on her solo competition piece. The day she won the championship, I was even more thrilled than she was. My present was a ring that would bind her to me forever. Our wedding took place in Bali. Romantic, warm, and truly unforgettable. 3 years later, Suo Fai paused all performance schedules and told me she wanted a baby. For years, we had both deliberately skirted around the topic of children. It wasn't that we never thought about it. We also felt that going through life without children would be a regret. Not for the sake of corporate succession, but out of pure wonder about what a child born to Suo Fai and me would look like. They would surely be breathtakingly beautiful. Yet Lynch syndrome was hereditary. I knew that agonizing fear all too well. Over those 3 years, Suo Fai underwent full-body checkups every 6 months, including invasive endoscopies, colonoscopies, and hysteroscopies, so that any malignant transformation could be treated immediately, preventing advanced disease from cutting her lifespan short. Bringing another child into that cycle of fear felt like more than I could bear. Yet, Suo Fai remained determined. Lynch syndrome carriers can have healthy children too. We just need third-generation 4VF, cultivating the fertilized embryos and running complete genetic panels. then transferring only healthy, mutation-free embryos. To break the hereditary chain, I refuse. IVF is far too physically demanding on a woman. Rather than watch you suffer, I'd rather never have children in our lifetime. Time and again, she firmly emphasized to me, this isn't me bearing a child for you. You are cooperating with me. I want this. I stayed unmoved. What do we need a kid for? It'll intrude on our world for two. You have so many shows. And your time with me is already so brief. And now, I have to split half of it with someone else. No way. Grow up. That's not someone else. That's our child. Nobody gets between us. You won't agree? Fine. I'll have Chi Xiao contact a sperm bank, pick a handsome blonde blue-eyed donor, and have a mixed baby. My eyes popped wide in utter shock. In the end, my protests proved completely futile. Truth be told, I had reached out to Chi Xiao regarding this matter. Putting on his expert specialist persona, he said, I support Zuo Fai. Since she wants this, her current age is ideal. IVF is challenging, but the medical technology is very mature now. Furthermore, you have to realize that Lynch syndrome carries a high risk of endometrial cancer. If she ever loses her uterus down the line, she might never have the opportunity again. That's why I stand with Zuo Fei. Over all these years, every time I thought of the possibility of her getting sick, my soul trembled with terror. Fine. As she wished, we would bring healthy children into our world. From one IVF cycle, we successfully cultivated 8 embryos. After genetic testing, 2 babies were confirmed completely healthy. The embryo transfer was a success, and Zuo Fei was pregnant with twins. After 9 suspenseful, nerve-wracking months, the babies were born. At that moment, life was fulfilled. I thanked that car accident to bring him back to my side. For the rest of my days, I only wish for my wife and children to be healthy and happy forever. About a month after the car accident, flashbacks began flickering through my mind. Sometimes still images, sometimes snippets of dialogue, fractured and hazy. The man beside me. Everyone kept telling me he was my husband, yet the way he looked at me shifted constantly, from pity, to anger, to utter bewilderment. In those fragmented memories of mine, he appeared all the time, sometimes holding me so gently, other times yelling at me in a furious rage. I was utterly confused, yet terrified to ask him. My intuition told me he meant everything to me, to help me regain my memory. The medical staff brought me magazines and iPads to look through. By chance, I came across a news article about my husband, only to discover he had a fiancée. How could this happen? After taking me home, he refused to sleep in the same room, even though in the hospital, he was so tender and cared for every detail. The nurses and other patients all told me how lucky I was to have such a devoted husband. As more pieces of my memory returned, I knew beyond doubt that I loved him. If he won't come to me, then I'll go to him. I managed to crawl into his arms to sleep. I was thrilled, but he kept his distance, making no move whatsoever. Why? Does he not want me anymore? Or is he truly in love with the woman in the magazine? I wanted so badly to shake him awake and ask him why. I stayed awake the whole night, while he slept peacefully. I guess I really have lost all my appeal to him. The next day he took me shopping. I was happy until we ran into an obnoxious woman. She acted overly familiar with him and insulted me to my face. When we got back home, I couldn't resist kissing him. He was clearly aroused. I felt it, yet he still tried to pull away. Like that would work. I'm forcing you to face me. Look at me go. Even I'm impressed by my own bold moves. I kissed him until he had no choice but to respond. He even warned me that I'd regret it. Like hell I would. Sure enough, physical closeness brought our hearts so much closer. Though I could feel him taking 3 steps forward and 2 back, things were definitely getting better. But out of nowhere, photos of us blew up on the trending searches. Suddenly, the entire world could see us. The truth about our relationship was about to burst out. He was terrifying that day. He aggressively cornered me, demanding, "Where on earth have you been?" In truth, I had just been sitting downstairs, lost in thought. Even with more memories returning, I still couldn't piece together the full picture. Yet I knew without a doubt that he cared for me. Then he dropped the bombshell. We were never husband and wife. We broke up 2 years ago. It broke my heart, even though I had suspected it. Hearing it directly from him was agonizing. Because of that revelation, we slept in separate rooms, but he took me along to his office. I was so excited to see him at work. He must look breathtakingly handsome. But while he was in a meeting, his friend came looking for me. I gasped, clapping my hand over my mouth, thinking in pure horror. What had I done? He told me I was the one who betrayed Song Siwon, that I left him for another man. When I walked away, Siwon fell apart in agonizing despair, drowning his sorrows in alcohol every day. I should never have returned. All I ever brought him was misery. Listening to his bitter accusations, my resolve shattered. Even though in my memories, there wasn't a single trace of another man. If I truly was that awful back then, I had no right to monopolize his warmth anymore. When I told Song Siwon I was leaving, he instantly exploded in fury, his voice trembling with suppressed rage. He fiercely interrogated me, his words steeped in anguish and confusion. What was this past month to you? Enjoying the story? Subscribe for the next episode. Yeah, what was it? All this month, I truly treated him as my husband, even knowing he wasn't. I secretly wanted to steal him back and keep him all to myself. Living apart was pure torture. I couldn't fall asleep at night. In those sleepless hours, I desperately tried to remember. Sometimes, fragments resurfaced. Other times, nothing but a blank. Lulu gave me a call to remind me about the dance competition. I vaguely recalled it, but suddenly it didn't seem important at all. What competition? I was about to lose the love of my life. Yet on that day, Song Siwon actually stamped a seal on my wrist, declaring that he was going to marry me. I was beside myself with joy, not daring to make it too obvious, only cherishing the secret bliss in my heart. Out of the blue, young Master Chi came looking for me. The moment he spoke, all my memories of him rushed back. Watching him and Siwon fight had me frantic with worry. At that very instant, the dam locking away my past burst wide open. Everything that happened surged in like a relentless wave. I remembered the heartbreaking day Siwon and I parted ways. I remembered my aunt terminally ill, emaciated to bone, whom we could never save despite all our efforts. I remembered my illness. I was going to get cancer too. I might die so young. I might never even be able to give birth to a healthy child. What would happen to Song Siwon then? It turned out all this happiness was just borrowed time, and I never deserved it. I broke down completely. I never should have provoked Song Siwon again. I really shouldn't have. When I woke up, Chi Xiao was by my side. He told me that keeping him in the dark was selfish too, and that Song Siwon deserved to make his own choice. Now, Siwon knew the one secret I was most desperate to hide from him. If he accepted me, I would drown in guilt. If he couldn't, and walked away, I wouldn't survive the heartbreak. That was why 2 years ago, I chose to run away first. I was the selfish one, the true coward. He squeezed onto my narrow hospital bed to hold me, telling me to spend the rest of my life making it up to him, even threatening to punish me. Tears streamed down my face. Staying by his side forever was my life's greatest wish. We will be happy. I will do everything in my power to bring him happiness. Even if we cannot prevent the hereditary risk, early detection and treatment will keep me safe. Chi Xiao said I still had every chance to live a long, normal life like anyone else. Please, heavens, grant me this one wish. Our days were quiet, sweet, and peaceful, and I began to crave more. I wanted a baby, and I knew Siwon wanted one too. He was just worried about me. What was a little pain in the end? I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for myself. I desperately wanted a child who looked just like him. If we had a boy, it would be like playing an adorable character game, watching a mini Song Siwon grow up, bit by bit. To my amazement, fate showered me with so much love, blessing me with both a little Siwon and a little Zuo Fei. The day I gave birth, Song Siwon broke into tears. What a silly man! Later, when I asked him what names he picked for our twins, he said the girl would be Zuo Muyuan, and the boy would be Song Lianfei. They sounded lovely, but wearing our love on our sleeves was too obvious. I suggested homophones with deeper meaning. The girl is Zuo Muyuan, Zuo adores Siwon, and the boy is Song Lianfei. Song loves Zuo Fei, loving you through the past with zero regrets, walking hand in hand into a lifetime of happiness.